Good evening, theater lovers, and welcome to The Play's the Thing, your backstage pass to the incredible, unpredictable, and ever-inventive world of Bay Area theater. And tonight we're shining a spotlight on three companies that capture the spirit of our region's stages, from Marin to Berkeley to Silicon Valley, each with its own voice, vision, and devoted community. Together, these three theaters reflect the diversity and dynamism of Bay Area culture. Different stages, different audiences, but one shared mission: to keep the performing arts alive, relevant, and deeply human. So, sit back, tune in, and join the conversation. Because here in the Bay Area, the play's the thing.
I am AJ Jaffari. I'm here representing myself and my co-host, Sarah Duarte. We have a theater podcast where we've been rating and reviewing and promoting Bay Area theater for about 3 years now, called Broadway with AJ and Sarah. We're also both performers, and we've been actively performing in the Bay Area for just about the same, about 3 or 4 years.
I'm Cathleen Riddley. I'm an actor and an emerging dramaturg and director, because I decided as I get older, I'm just going to keep reaching up and keep reaching to do more things. I enjoy new work, and I enjoy just the ensemble energy of creativity and the way that every show is different, because you get that different feedback from each different audience.
I'm Barry Horowitz, and I'm the editor of Theatrius.com, which is a Bay Area-based theater review website. And we've been reviewing plays all over the Bay Area for the last 10 years. Would you tell us a little bit about Ross Valley Players? Not everybody knows about Ross Valley Players over there in Marin, where you live.
Yeah, first, I live in Marin. I live in San Rafael, which is not very, very far away from Ross Valley Players, which is in Ross, California. And it's a beautiful, little, tiny area of Marin, because Marin is divided up into what I think of as little hamlets. And Ross is just a beautiful area, and the theater is called the Barn Theater. It's very much a let's do a show in the barn. It's been around for about 100 years and was actually founded by a group of women. It's a beautiful little barn theater at the top of a hill, nestled in the Marin Art and Garden Center. Beautiful roses, beautiful ponds, a place where lots of people have their weddings and other celebrations. And so on your path where you're going to walk up to the theater, you will pass through this beautiful Art and Garden Center and then get to this adorable little barn where the theater takes place. And I think that the neighborhood is sweet. I think the energy around the vibe in the area is very sweet and low-key, as things are often in Marin.
And you were recently in the Book of Will by Lauren Gunderson up there, which I saw and loved.
I'm so glad. Yes.
Did you have a good time doing that?
Yes, I did. It's a fabulous show, and a great show, actually, for that particular space. Because you're talking about a show, a story that is set back in Shakespeare's time, just after his death. And so you're in a building that has lanterns hanging from it and is wooden. And so you feel that energy and that vibe, and that it's the perfect place. Wooden tables and that kind of thing. Yes. And so you feel very much like you're in an environment where the energy and the love from that will just come up from the ground. The work that they do, it's modern classic. Because and it is interesting, because you think of a play like Book of Will, which is set in the period of Shakespeare, but it's still got that contemporary modern aesthetic, and so modern, and so,
a woman's point of view.
Yes.
Women behind Shakespeare's.
Yes,
Yeah.
and so approachable. And then doing something that is a classic piece like Tartuffe, but then living in the world that we're living in now, where somebody can come in and just fool an entire family and an entire nation sometimes if they're not paying attention. And then, a frightening mystery story like Wait Until Dark. And there's just, I think that they're now drifting more into saying, what is more modern now? What is modern and what is classic? And then watching them overlap. And also working with something that's very important to me is I'm seeing more diversity in their casting and in their hiring, and especially in Marin, which is such a very, very predominantly white area, knowing that people of color feel welcome at Ross Valley Players and in that area is very, very important to me. And so watching that come along matters a lot.
Incredible.
And where do you go out to eat when you're in Ross Valley?
I'm a great advocate of make a day of it. If you're going to see a night show, come out during the day. Take yourself a little hike around Phoenix Lake, which is beautiful. Go get yourself a nice little brunch. Have a picnic in the several parks that are around the area. And then enjoy some time in the Art and Garden Center and then go up to the barn and see a show. So just make an adventure. And since also Ross Valley Players, I think of as a very family-friendly place, like bring everybody. And I think we are missing the opportunity of being together so much now because things are so separated. There are so many screens there. Since COVID, I think we haven't found our way back together yet. And so I think
And the theater is the perfect way to do it.
Yes, it is.
To bring people, because it's an art for groups of people.
For
it's
community.
not for one person.
For communities.
Yeah.
You're really selling it though. I love theater companies. I mean, we have so many in the Bay Area, but I love that you just described like a day that you could spend there and kind of do all these things. Because yes, it is nice to see theater, but it's also nice to like enjoy your communities and maybe places that you don't normally go to. So.
How about down in your neck of the woods in the South Bay, what we call the South Bay?
Yeah, what we call the South Bay. I mean, there's lots to do in the South Bay, but there's also countless companies in the South Bay. I think TheaterWorks was one of the theaters that we were going to talk about.
Yes.
Which is just, I mean, there's this iconicism around TheaterWorks. It's a large company. It's a mogul of a theater company, really.
Very professional.
Very professional.
Super
but, you know,
professional.
Big
theater. Big theater.
Yeah, the Mountain View Performing Arts Center is a huge, beautiful theater. But, you know, to your point, I like that they are starting to hire a lot more local actors. Their current show, Driving Beat, starring Leanne Payne, local director and actor.
Jeffrey Lowe is directing?
Jeffrey Lowe is directing. I think that's cool that, like, even a theater as big as TheaterWorks, that's big all around the country, is still hiring, you know, local actors, you know, highlighting local actors.
And they bring in new plays, too.
New work.
They do the new work of Rajiv Joseph. I saw some of the one about the basketball players. Oh, gosh.
King James.
King James.
Yes.
Oh, that was so moving and beautiful.
Yeah, and even, I mean, I know that they were doing, the last show I saw there was Being Alive, the Sondheim celebration, which was co-conceived, I believe, by their music director who does a lot there. I think his name is William
Liberator.
Yeah. I think he was the one who kind of co-conceived that project, which is kind of like a celebration of Sondheim music.
Maybe with Robert Kelly, or was he already?
That sounds.
Yeah.
Oh yes, and Kelly is still around. He's director emeritus, but he's going to come in this year and direct Come From Away.
It's a big company, and I think it's also a big deal for them to do a show like Come From Away, you know, because nobody's done it yet. So.
It's only toured through San Francisco.
Correct.
But to have our own local version will be special.
Right.
At TheaterWorks.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
With local artists.
Hopefully, I'm hoping.
Hopefully, yeah.
I mean, it's like I said, it's a mogul of a company, but I like that they're making efforts to hold these general auditions, make it more accessible for like local actors to make it, because you know, lots of great actors have made it big from TheaterWorks. Jessica Chastain is one of them.
Wow.
She's doing film obviously now, but she's somebody who made it.
My.
You know, she's from Sacramento and she made it here, and so I think that's cool. It gives people a chance to kind of get their name out there and work with some professional designers, you know, directors and designers.
Yes.
So.
James Monroe Iglehart, who was in Aladdin, who was the genie in Aladdin, won a Tony Award for that. Then went on to be in Hamilton as well. Just started out here.
Yeah.
Started out here.
Wow.
It's kind of cool to think that like the Bay Area is home to some of those people that have made it big in the theater world, you know. I think it's cool.
Where do you go to eat?
Well, if I'm going to TheaterWorks, I mean, downtown Mountain View, like you were saying, there's just a plethora of places that you can go to, which is kind of what I like. And you can kind of like park at the theater and then just walk around.
It's close by.
Yeah, which is
cool.
Nice. It's in a downtown area, walkable downtown. You know, like you don't have to worry about being out late at night in an area like that. And I think we were talking a little bit about transportation too, which is cool because kind of a trek to get down there. But like if you take the Caltrain, it's right there. There's a really good sushi place in downtown Mountain View that I'm blanking on what it's called. I'll report back. I gotta look it up. But that's the last time I ate there. I'm a sushi lover, so.
I should say something about Shotgun, because I'm so fond of Shotgun. It's right around the corner, and I have acted there. I was Tiresias in the Buckeye at 8th Street years ago.
2 incarnations of theaters ago, I think, right?
Yes, yes. Recently, they've done some wonderful things. Chris Chen's The Motion, which is almost like a horror story with people trapped in a house and they don't know what they're doing there.
Choir Boy.
Choir Boy.
Which is beautiful.
Beautiful, directed by my friend Darrell V. Jones. Beautiful show about African-American boys who are trying to
Embrace their sexuality.
embrace their sexuality.
I thought it was a really brave story.
It is. Talvin McCraney.
Terrell Alvin McCraney.
Terrell Alvin McCraney is the playwright.
Yeah.
What do you remember of it?
I just remember feeling really moved. I mean,
Yeah.
I think, and I placed myself in their shoes too as an actor, because I was like, there was lots of like really tough scenes that they had to do, and I felt like, wow, like, you know, the ability to do this on stage and do it confidently is something that I admire in a performer. The story stuck with me. The music was really interesting, I thought.
Unusual. And the
It
dancing.
was unusual. And the dancing, yeah.
That's Darrell. I think he brought all those elements together.
Well, that was AJ. AJ Adani Marquis
Oh,
did the
yeah.
choreography for it.
Yeah.
And I think that what I resonated with it so much is that so much of music and the movement was so very Black culture. So much of it was step show from the Black fraternities and that type of movement, and even with the lifting up of the gospel music, which is kind of our roots. I felt like that it was so brave for those young men to be so vulnerable in this piece, and also living, you know, in the context of the play, in the pressure cooker of a Black boarding school, where you have to rise to excellence, but you're still trying to figure out who you are in that process. You know, and just explore your sexuality in a place where there are things you can do and can't do. But as you're trying to figure yourself out, you have to try those things.
It's typical of Shotgun that they're doing a very difficult experimental piece and putting it out there and seeing, you know.
And so this is a theater that is exploring and interrogating the creation of art. So I think even in the doing something quote unquote classical, it's exploring something that we're grappling with right now.
Absolutely.
And so that's one of the things I enjoy about Shotgun, is that they just like dig in. They
dig in. And it's always different. You don't know what to expect. Like Chris Chen's The Motion that they just did. It's an amazing story about, it's actually about animal rights and a debate, and then they suddenly go into this house where they're trapped like animals, and it's just a beautiful experience. And yeah, Sunday in the Park with George is coming up next.
I love that show. I'm interested to see how they interpret it. If they'll stick to it in terms of like how it's typically been done, or if they'll kind of give their own experimental spin on it, make it a little bit more modern. I don't know.
Yeah, it's being directed by Susanna Martin, who is a company member and been a company member of Shotgun for a long time. And I think one of the things that Shotgun's been exploring that I really like is doing on-stage seating. Because they're having, it's like when they did Hedwig and the Angry Inch, they had, you know, tables here. When they did Natasha and Pierre and the Great Comet, they had seating all the way around us, and a big long runway going through the theater.
And it was like a cocktail. It was like cocktail theater.
Cocktail tables.
I didn't realize they changed their configuration.
Oh my gosh!
Time.
Every
time.
That's interesting.
And the thing that you wouldn't think, you go in and it's set up like, you know, church pews that are going up this way, and then you come in and you're thinking,
it was
oh
a church.
Gosh. Yep, and then you see what they can do with it, and the creativity they can employ with that space.
Another theater in the Bay Area and the South Bay that does that a lot is called the Pear Theater. They have a lot of new works there as well, and they kind of work with configurations and adjust. I've seen several shows there, one of which had a really interesting configuration. It was once on this island, but it was in the rounds. I feel like theaters that do that, they kind of push that boundary of like, you know, how you feel in the theater, like how immersive you can really get. Yeah. I think play selection is really big right now. Like a lot of companies are picking plays that will, in hopes to attract those who may not necessarily go to the theater. I've seen a lot of plays recently on AI, which is a big fear of a lot of people right now. But I think if you put it in the lens of theater, sometimes it makes it a little bit more exciting or intriguing, I should say. So I feel like in theater works, and for example, I just feel like picking a show, you know, like Driving Beat that's upcoming, like it might excite people who are not necessarily into theater, but they're like, oh, I'll read this synopsis and I'm excited to see that. That sounds like something I'd like. Because a lot of people with theater, you know, you either love it or you hate it, and those who hate it, they're like, oh, it's just boring. But it's like, if it's a piece that you can relate to in some way, I think that's what makes people excited to go to the theater. And And a lot of these modern shows or even new works can sometimes be exciting to people because they're like, oh, that's a topic that I'm interested in. I want to.
And Driving Beat is about identity.
Yeah.
He starts as a Latino boy looking for his adoptive mother, his real mother, his birth mother, but it changes.
Right, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, it sounds intriguing to those who may have a relatable experience. And I think that...
And be surprised.
Exactly, yeah. And so I think that's the draw, too, for a lot of the people, is they like these modern stories, too, because they want the boundaries to be pushed, you know?
Absolutely.
I think people are looking for connection. And I really do think that the pandemic just almost broke something in us, is that we lost the ability to connect to one another. We talk about now how our children, that their abilities in social situations have been compromised because they didn't have that. It's like when somebody says, my child was 5 when the pandemic hit and going into kindergarten, you're like, oh my gosh, what has happened? And so I think that people, although we are getting used to being in our own little holes and stuff like that, I think that we always are striving for connection. And I think when people do art that is about connecting or finding your identity or reaching out to another identity, which I think a lot of the theaters are doing, that I think you're going for something that you can connect to in this experience of watching it and in the experience of being with the people that are with you.
Yes.
And it doesn't have to only be your own identity.
Right, exactly.
Like Yellowface.
Right.
It questioned the whole concept of identity.
Yeah.
And when are you what you are and when are you going to be something else? And it was a wonderful experience.
A big company that I frequent a lot in the South Bay at Palo Alto Players, they're doing Frozen, which I think another thing of pulling people into the theaters. Let's do a Disney show that draws in family, and that gets people excited too about theater, and then in turn, then they want to come back and see more shows.
Right.
So all it takes is one show to get people like hooked on a company, right? You're like, oh, I want to come back to this theater because I want to feel that joy again. And so I think it's cool that theaters are coming and picking these large shows. I mean, Frozen's a regional premiere for Palo Alto, and just for, for all these theaters, it's going to be the first show in the area. So, I'm excited to see some of these big shows coming up in 2026.
Well, I'm excited. I'm just going to say that I'm excited about the things that are going on at Marin Shakespeare Company. Because Marin Shakespeare has the Forest Meadows, the outdoor theater that's over at Dominican University or in that area. But it also now has an indoor space that has built a beautiful little indoor theater that used to just be the big open rehearsal space.
In San Rafael.
Yes, in San Rafael at 514 4th Street.
Yes.
And because they now have the indoor space, they can do works throughout the year. So they have a solo festival. Last year, in between the 2 shows that they did outside, the 2 Shakespeare shows they had something called Seeds of Time, which was Shakespeare adjacent work or Shakespeare interrogating work. Like if somebody wanted to write something about, this is my response to how Shakespeare views women, or this is my response to this classic. Then there was an opportunity for people to do proposals and then present 70 or so minutes of work just relating to Shakespeare. And I just think that that's the thing that brings the classic into the contemporary time, and it has something for everyone. And I think that as Marin Shakespeare Company continues to grow, they're exploring all these different things. They're not strictly, we're going to put on our Shakespeare show outside, set in this time.
And they just did Hamlet in there.
By
From
Oakland Theater.
Oakland Theater.
Oakland Theater Project.
And it was a very diverse cast, and it was a lot of modern talking to the audience, and it was beautiful. And it's a nice, it's almost like Theater in the Round there. And before that, they did Angels in America, also from Oakland Theater. Beautifully done.
Yeah, TheaterWorks they're doing Driving Beat right now, and then
Georgina and Kitty.
Yeah.
Christmas at Pimbley.
Oh, another Lauren Gunderson. And those women that she creates are not 18th century, 19th century women. They're modern women, kind of trapped in that period, trying to get out. She wants to be a composer. She wants to be something.
I think that kind of opens up our perception of women of that period as well, because we have, and as I might say, most of the people who wrote about women of that day were men. I mean, we have Jane Austen, yes, thank you, but still looking at it through the eye of what the culture accepted at that time, or what society accepted at that time. And I think that when Lauren does something like that, she breaks open.
She breaks
totally
the shell.
breaks open that shell.
Sarah and I both, we really enjoy, more than anything, not only just reviewing, but promoting theater across the Bay Area. that's kind of the goal of our podcast. And yes, we talk about theater, but we also talk about, getting to the theater, the events of, sitting at the theater at intermission and talking with friends. And so I think just getting people talking about theater is what we love to do. And we're going to continue doing that. We're trying to get to new companies every time. I'd love to check out the companies that you've been mentioning today, and you too, Barry. But yeah, that's kind of the goal moving forward.
I love going to Shotgun because they're always discovering new things, and there's a different director, different actors, some the same, some new. They'll do Tom Stoppard, they'll do Shakespeare, they'll do writers that I haven't thought of before. What Heidi Schreck play did they do? Well, Grand Concourse, going way back that you were in the first time I saw you on the stage. A great experience. So after that, I always sought out any play that was Kathleen Riddley was in, I would go see. Really. Because there's some heart there. And it's just fun to be there. Patrick and his crew, they create cocktails and mocktails. And they make little parties, and they have readings, and they have meetings. They're having a Hirschfeld exhibit of the great cartoons.
I want to add one more thing about Shotgun. One of the things that they do is called the Champagne Staged Reading Series.
Yes.
And they have a week of rehearsal, and often it's a brand new play and something that they're contemplating possibly doing in the next season. And they just want to give the audience a taste of it and see what the audience might think about it, or see what it might feel like to produce this eventually. And just being able to go to something that it's kind of in its shotgun infancy or at the beginning stages of it, and then maybe to come back a couple of seasons later and to have it actually be in this season. So I think that the sort of cultivating the work while work is going on at the same time, I think is a real wonderful opportunity. And the fact that they always have their Make a Difference night, which is, pizza and beer for the young folk, and you can get a ticket for the smallest amount of money to get the young people to come into the theater. And I think that's super, super important. Let's make community. Let's continue to spend time together. Let's go someplace, make a day of it, walk around the lake. You never know who you might meet and talk to. Then sit in the Art and Garden Center, look at the beautiful roses, ask somebody next to you, are you going to go up and see this show in the barn today? And then the community that we have been longing for since we lost it during COVID, and since a lot of things with so much screen time, that we've become disconnected, that we can reconnect. And I think in this kind of warm little bastion of Little Ross, little cute area, that we can continue to grow community there too, from all over.
You get to cross those barriers, age, race, time, space. It's like a brave new world that hath such people in it. We've had a great conversation today, and I want to thank our guests, Kathleen Riddley and A.J. Jaffari, for helping us cover the whole Bay Area. So join us next time for a discussion about 3 other theater companies, because here in the Bay Area, the play's the thing.